What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage, and this is a story I did not expect. Now, a lot of you guys that have followed the channel for a long time know that I'm a contractor. It used to be for the Department of Defense, but now it's called the Department of War, so I'm a Department of War contractor. I have a company that subcontracts with Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, just to name a few. The Department of War has now reached out to auto manufacturers and they want to use their employees and their engineers and their, building genius to build for the Department of War. Yeah, we're going to get into all that and more right after this. Guys, before I get into today's video, I have to talk about the giveaway right now going on the channel. The 1969 Charger Hellcat, the 1969 Dodge Charger Hellcat, it's got a perfect swap. You guys can go check it out over on the website, tksgarage.bigcartel.com. Is at 4.5% left in terms of extra entries. Once those sell out, that will close out extra entries, not just on that, but again on the 70 Charger and the Durango as well. So for those that want to get in on any of those vehicles, now is the time to do it by going to tksgarage.bigcartel.com. Link is in the description down below. You will see it start saying sold out as they close out, and it is getting there. So best time to get in, like I said, is now. Link in the description down below. So the Department of War did not expect this. You can see it right here. They say war economy. Pentagon calls Ford and GM to build weapons. Now, this has not happened since World War II. Ford back then built 8,685 B-24s in World War II. The Pentagon just called them back. During World War II, Ford's Willow Run plant rolled a brand new B-24 Liberator off the assembly line every single hour. Think about that. That is insane in terms of build time. When you look at, now granted, aircraft is a lot different today than they were back then, but the fact that every hour one of these B-24s are rolling off the line is insane. The Pentagon is now saying they need that same energy today. They need that same energy today. Today's defense supply chain is actually broken. And let me explain why. After World War II, a lot of the defense contracting, business, so to speak, kind of consolidated. Traditional defense contractors like Raytheon and Lockheed, two companies that I subcontract with, they just can't scale fast enough like Ford and General Motors could. Now, what I find interesting is I know why they're leaving Stellantis out of this, and they have, in my opinion, the most production capacity that's wide open. But that's even, and I get it, Filosa brought the CEO's office back here to the United States, but the company itself, Stellantis, is still a company from the Netherlands or based out of the Netherlands. So I don't think you're going to see the Department of War reach out to Stellantis for that production capacity. That said, that's why they reached out to Ford and General Motors. So the Pentagon has called GM's CEO, Mary Barra, and Ford CEO, Jim Farley, asking them to convert factory floors into weapon production lines. Now, part of this is, you have to think about this, right? We've been in Iran, and we have dropped a ton of ordnance. What did they say? 30,000 targets hit, or 30,000 sorties have been flown, or 30,000 missions have been flown, and they've all involved dropping ordnance. One, all of that shit is expensive. Two, you got to replenish it, right? You know, being in this business, being a contractor at the Department of War, it's literally about being at the highest level of readiness to be able to confront any threat that the United States might run into. And right now, with the conflict in Iran, and I think a lot of people don't understand how shit is behind the scenes. I honestly don't think that the ceasefire that we're currently in so that they can negotiate for peace is really to negotiate for peace. It's because they're firing up the Rock Island Arsenal, for prime example. If you don't know, we build a lot of weapons there, right? In Davenport, Iowa / Moline, Illinois, right? So right on the border of both places. They're probably working nonstop emergency shifts to pump out as much ordnance and as many weapons as they can. And it's not just there. You could basically, every single base and every single contractor that is manufacturing weapons is on like 24/7, no days off, make as much weapons as possible. And they can't keep up. That's what I said. The contractors, as well as the military itself, is not able to keep up with as much ordnance as we're dropping. Just plain and simple. So I think it's a smart move by the Department of War to reach out to General Motors and Ford, because I guarantee you they have plants that are closed. I guarantee you the UAW has employees that would love to go back to work at either Ford or GM, and they don't give a shit if they're putting together, rockets, or if they're putting together mortars, or they're putting together drones or aircraft. They don't care. They just want to go back to work. And I think it is a smart move by the Department of War to reach out to them, because they also have the engineering expertise and know how to speed things up to get stuff down the line safely and effectively. So I'll leave the question to you. What do you guys think about Hegseth and the Department of War reaching out to these auto manufacturers to fire up some old factories to start making weapons? I gave you my opinion. I think it's smart. And I'm coming from it not as an outsider. This is my business. This is what I do. Like, people think that I make all my money from YouTube. That's funny. Negative. YouTube is not even 10% of my income from, my income sources. It comes from my business. It comes from my company. So, yeah, I think, coming from it from that perspective, I have a very special insight into that. And I think it's smart. I do wish that the president, being that Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram are American brands, yes, they're technically owned by Stellantis and a foreign company, right? I think if the weapons are being built here in the United States, I'm sure the people at Belvedere wouldn't give a shit if they got back to work earlier. I don't think Warren Assembly would give a shit if they had a shift putting together rockets or putting together, Bradley fighting vehicles or putting together whatever. They don't give a shit. They just want to go to work. And I think it would be smart of the Department of War to maybe reach out to Antonio Filosa and broach it. I know some people are going to say, TK, you're just saying that because you're trying to get rich off of war. I do that already, in case you didn't know, as a defense contractor. Anytime there's a conflict anywhere in the world and the United States gets involved, I'm like, I'm getting paid. And you'll see me travel and you'll see me go, I'm getting paid. So I don't care. But am I going to make money if Stellantis' stock goes up because they're manufacturing weapons for the government? Duh. But that's not the reason why. I want our boys that are overseas to have the tools, the weapons, and the supplies that they need to be able to fight whatever conflict that they're in. Period. End of story. That's the side that I'm coming from. Does it hurt that I make money from it? No, not at all. That said, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.